Today we're talking about our kids and faith and how we raise them and where they're at in life.
Yes, and ourselves, background on
Yeah.
ourselves and where we
Okay.
are.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure. Welcome, welcome, everybody. We're back again. The three amigos here hanging out.
Amigas.
Oh, pardon me. See, I told you I don't speak Spanish.
Yeah, pardon your French, Dana.
Excusez-moi. We have a fun topic today. Well, I don't know if it's fun, but I think it's something near and dear to our hearts. I have, with these lovely ladies, talked many a times about our faith, our journey, ourselves, individuals as women and moms and wives, and how we sort of came to be in our faith. If that's something that we were raised and grew up in, or something we found kind of on our own, and how we feel we have done raising our children in or around that faith. That's kind of the phase that I'm in. I feel very solid in my faith and what I believe in my heart. I love to talk about it and I love to talk with people and I love to learn other things, but I am often wondering what that journey will look like for my child, for my son, and that's kind of where I'm at. Any thoughts on that, ladies, before we get going? I'll kind of share.
Yes, I think that's a good start, Dana. Tell
Mhm.
us tell us your feelings about where you are in your faith journey, what that looks like for you, and what you see for your own son.
I'm glad you brought that up. I did not grow up in the church or a church or with faith or talks about God or Jesus or anything like that. I wasn't discouraged from it growing up, but it just wasn't something that we did as a family. And around high school, I met a wonderful friend and I would do all the things with her, all the youth group and Sundays and choir and I don't even know. I was always with her doing things. And then when I met my husband, he at that time was attending the Episcopal Church and seemed okay to me. I didn't have much understanding of anything of my faith, of religion, of a denomination. And we ended up getting married in the Episcopal Church. But that's where he raised his daughter at the time, and that is the church we raised our son in. We did end up sending our son to Catholic school for most of his schooling as well. So similar but different, which is also the denomination, I shall say, that I know you two ladies attend. So I do think it's kind of interesting that between the three of us, we all go towards a more traditional type of organized religion, something that's very
Hmm.
structured. And I love that. And you know what's funny is I have a dear friend and a colleague here in town who, gosh, I think she grew up maybe Church of Christ. She and her husband have evolved over time, and they are now attending the same Episcopal church that I go to, and it's super fun, but they don't prefer the traditional service with all of the hymns and the singing and the choir and the praying and the kneeling. We have a contemporary service as well, and so they usually attend that one because it's a little
Hmm.
shorter and a little less, and it just cracks me up all the time because she's like, yeah, we don't really like the traditional ones, but to each their own. I just feel like for myself, I feel very solid in my faith, in my journey, and what I believe. I love Jesus, and that is my walk and where I'm going, and that's kind of it. And then I brought this up. We were talking about this, the three of us together. I do just wonder, because I didn't grow up in the church or being raised that way, and so I wonder what that will look like for my son, since we did raise him in a church and he did go
Hmm.
to faith-based or Christian school and kind of where he's at. Now, what he tells me is when we moved here to Texas, his comment was, Mom, there is a lot of Jesus here. Like a
There
lot.
is. There
He's like,
is.
everybody wants to pray for me. He's like, I'm good. He's like, I know I got my relationships. I'm good, Mom. I don't need all that. That's too much for me. Because I would be like, hey, do you want to do this? Or do you want to, go with your friends? And he was like, nope, I'm good. I know that when he started college last year, he went fairly regularly. His roommate was Catholic. And so he felt comfortable. He'd gone to Catholic school and our services are similar. So he would go with him, but he's not one that will just go. Like, he's not going to join a local college ministry wherever he's living or whatever school he's in. And so I wonder what his life is going to look like. What about you ladies?
Can I ask you a question?
Mhm.
Your husband, he went to Catholic
Oh,
school, is that correct?
hmm He actually what did grow up in the Episcopal Church as well, and he did go to Catholic school. And so he was adamant that we would send our child to Catholic school. And I was adamant that that was the dumbest thing I had ever heard. Why would you do that? I turned out fine. I didn't understand this. I did not grasp the concept. I mean, we had lots and lots of conversations about it. I have no strong feelings one way or the other. It's just a path that we chose, an education that we chose, and a road that we chose to go down as a family. I don't think that makes my son smarter or better or more holy than anybody else. But it ended up working out for us, and we were truly a year by year family. We would enter the summer going, ooh, I don't know if we're gonna be able to make this work this year. We always manage to. And I think that my son appreciates that. I think he has a lot of good memories. Not so much about the faith and the religion part of it, but he like just thinks he went to school and he made great friends, and that's really the matter. A little
Oh,
Jesus sprinkled in on top of that, and he turned out, I think, okay. We shall see.
I think he turned out
He's
more than
fine.
okay. Yeah.
I
And
think my question for
mhm,
you guys is, kind of what was your journey growing up? And then how did you raise your kids in the same way? And then what have you done to feed yourself or feed your soul? And Sheila, for you, what's been different from coming when you're making a move like this, like finding your community, and is it different? Because I've noticed some things that are a little different, but I'm curious what you guys.
I was raised Catholic, and when we had the kids, we raised them Catholic, and certainly went through all the things that we were supposed to do. Supposed to get baptized, and then
Mm-hmm.
have their other sacraments like their communion. At one point, when the kids were maybe in elementary school, Brian and I were talking a little bit about our faith and if we would be open to discovering other avenues for us. We never pursued it, but I find it interesting that it wasn't until we moved here to this area that I kind of opened my eyes, or actually, we all have, I think, as a family, opened ourselves to learning a little bit more about other denominations.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, Dana, without any prodding, I think it was me who was curious. I asked if I could come to one of your services, and you were so kind, and I did go. And like you said, it was Catholic light,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Lite,
TE.
and also Like. So similar. And so I
Mm-hmm.
felt super comfortable and really welcome. At this point in my life, I feel very strongly about how I grew up and what
Mm-hmm.
my faith looks like, and however open and welcoming that church was and that group was, I know that my heart and my place is where I currently am, being a Catholic. And so that's a little bit about my story. And for my husband, he grew up Catholic as well and went to Catholic school all of his elementary school age years. And so he will often say, I don't need to go to mass anymore. I don't need to go to church anymore because I went so many times in school that I've
Twice a week or daily or something, right?
right, right. My goodness. And so he feels like he's accumulated enough points so that we don't have to go to church.
That's funny.
Um, but I certainly would like my kids to remain faithful, and
Hmm.
I would hope to stay with Catholicism, but it is really their choice. It's where they find their own heart. And I know that Quinn has done a little bit of discovery on her own, and our younger daughter Pia, she also has been pretty open to discovering other denominations and has been invited to attend church with her friends, and she has with an open
Hmm.
mind and an open
Hmm.
heart, and she has discovered lately that her place for the moment is continuing with her Catholic faith.
And she's sort of been kind of the driving force for you guys like a few years ago, if I recall. Wasn't she the one saying, let's go on Sunday morning. Go with me, Mom, right? Your
Yes, she
youngest one?
has. She
Hmm.
has. I mean, when we first moved here, we were shopping for a church,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And I think that we certainly discovered one, and we've kind of we haven't been very consistent, and so she did. She prompted us to start going back again, and I really am grateful for that. And so I appreciate her wanting to go. We have kind of a different story lately. My husband doesn't always feel very well. We don't go to church regularly. And for whatever reason, I know that I can go to church on my own, I don't often want to. And I think part of it is that it reminds me of my mom and being a widow and
Oh,
seeing all those other folks in there by themselves in the pews. And for whatever reason, that gets me. And that's
oh.
why, and I like going to church with my family. And
Yeah,
so that's what I enjoy.
I do as well.
And so it's tough for me to go to church by myself.
As
I feel
somebody
ya.
who goes by herself all of the time, you just have to get over it. I say that with
And I
all the love.
should. And I
Um,
should.
I think you'll find your time will come and you'll feel very peaceful about it. I had to kind of reframe that. I still feel that a little bit. Like I wish my husband and I have an understanding. I would never want somebody to force me to do something that I didn't want to do. And he like ebbs and flows. There's times where he is all in, and then there's times where he's like, yeah, I don't know. Kind of the same. I've been enough. Do I really need to go today?
Right.
Meh. But he has found within our church, he's actually tried a few different Bible studies in town, just as a way to meet people and connect. And we are the same. I don't does not bother me. I just don't get stuck in all the secular parts or the denomination part. I feel like if your heart feels good and you're fed wherever you're at, it might even be for a season that is just as long as like something positive is coming out of it. I think I would encourage myself and anybody else to do that. He goes to his Bible study, same church, same priest and all those things, but he goes to Bible study because he does love to learn. He's like a scholar and likes to learn all the things. He likes to tell me about it. I don't care. I don't understand what he's telling me. I don't know these books, and they like deep dive into Jeremiah. I mean, I don't know this, but I like to go on Sundays. It's like my thing. And once kind of let go of the fact that it wasn't about being seen. Yes, I wish that my family was there. I really wish my son was there. I feel like then I would know he has a foundation. He has something he always knows he can fall back on. I feel fed when I go, and it makes me a better person for the rest of the week, for my coworkers and for my family. That's truly how I
Mm-hmm.
feel about it. Like the
Mm-hmm.
communion, I really only go, like, that's it. I like that part with the prayers and the peace and the letting go. And it's a new week tomorrow. That's my favorite part.
I'm
For
glad
sure.
to hear that. As I mentioned, I don't know what this journey looks like for my kids, but I just want them to know and understand that having some sort of spirituality in their life
Hmm.
is a blessing and really can bring comfort to you. So I hope to some degree that they find it for themselves.
What's your story, Rachel?
Again, born and raised here. There's several Catholic churches in the area, and there was one in particular, and that was basically our family church. So my grandparents are there, my aunts and uncles, that's where they were raised. And so that's where we were raised to go to church. George and I were married there at that church.
Oh.
And that was because it was on both of our sides of that's the
Mm-hmm.
family church you go to. When my mom got sick and passed, I kind of had a feuding with the church because they didn't come out and do what I consider like her last blessing, right? So we were unable to
Mm,
get a hold of a priest at the time. George also had on his mom's side another church that they were accustomed to going to. And I'd been there a couple of times, and he actually did his confirmation through that church. So I was like, okay, I'll explore. I felt weird because it wasn't my family church. This wasn't where we were married. This wasn't where we were starting
Mm-hmm.
to raise our kids. But shortly thereafter, it became our place to go to, continues to be our place to go to. We pretty much just dropped what I consider our membership, our,
Mm-hmm.
our, our place at the other church, and have made our place at this church. Come to find out years later, there is a school attached to it. I knew about the school growing up, but at the time I didn't get to go to Catholic school because I knew it was too much. So we went to
Mm-hmm.
public.
Mm-hmm.
And in this area, if that was a very well known school, if you wanted to be in your Catholic faith, that's where you sent
Mm-hmm.
your kids. And it was great. We raised the kids. It came to a point where, I mean, they were in public school. So my daughter started pre K 4 through 5th grade. And it was becoming to the point where, okay, junior high is about to happen. Do we really want to continue with the public education that we had here? Or is it time to actually make the switch, put her into private, see how it goes, see how we can do it? And so it just became something just kind of natural. We were able to get a little bit of aid and were able to put them both there. My son was there for his entire education from first grade through graduation. They both graduated from the school, learned a lot, definitely got closer to their faith and learning about a whole lot more than what we could teach them because we just were not in that involved with the church and to the point where I felt like I could educate my kids on the faith and everything. Now we could do everything that they did in catechism, of course, things that we knew growing up, but the depth that they learned, and I think that they both came away appreciating what I felt like was an investment into them, that put them in a good spot as far as human beings. They're both doing very well, thriving, and I too pray for both of them just because as they got into the college years, what I'm discovering is in going to church is not as high a priority as it was previously. And maybe it was only because you had to go because you were there at the school. But we've always encouraged both of them. Just because we brought you up that way doesn't necessarily mean you have to follow that. They both know that they do not have to remain Catholic. It is in our family tradition, of course, on both sides of the family. But if this is
just a little bit of Catholic guilt, just a little bit.
I know, but
I'm just
right.
I'm just teasing.
If it's not for you, it's not for you.
Yeah.
So, and we also explored, like Sheila said, as we were kind of growing up ourselves with the kids, and is this really what we want to do? Is this the denomination we're going to follow? We talked about a number of visits to go see. I mean, I had friends who were African American. They would invite us to their church. I was like, all right. And of course, we got family members, and they're like, come to our church, come to church. I'm like, okay, great. We would just never actually commit and actually go.
Yeah.
We would attend funeral services, and it's all Christian based. And the service that came out of it, it's like, oh my God, that wasn't even a Catholic. And that was so good. And they would invite us to church, right? And like, we got to go check this church out. We do. We get pulled back into our faith that we kind of have in our heart and have not strayed away. As an adult, I do find myself kind of wondering what else is there that I haven't learned, especially since we instilled so many values and what I would consider an investment into our child's education. I didn't get to learn all of that. So as an adult, I'm actually taking that upon myself right now. I want to learn and read the Bible. I want to understand what the stories are all about. He went to a college that is kind of Christian based. And so they had to take a college level Christian based course or two as part of the
Your
curriculum.
husband, you said? Or your daughter? Oh, yeah. Yeah. I did the same thing. Those
Exactly.
were the hardest classes I have ever taken in my entire life. They were so hard.
But he said it made you think, right? It made you really think. And so he's got all these books, and I'm just like, I never really took that upon myself to just dive into them and actually understand what is it that the word is telling me. And and I've always felt like God has a plan for me and things happen for a reason. And sure enough, it's written there in the book like that. I never really understood it. So as an adult, and I probably would say here in the past few months, I've taken it upon myself. We were actually sitting in church one Sunday, and the priest said, I want you to do this. Every day of the week, you should be doing at least 15 minutes of something. So I said, you know what? I don't know if I actually do 15 minutes of just me and God, or, just saying something or reading something. So I took it upon myself at that point. And I'm like, you know what? 15 minutes. I can spare 15 minutes a day to read the Bible, read a book, read a scripture, read something. I love to read. It's not that big of an ask. One thing that we grew up with, my grandmother and both my grandmother and grandfather on my dad's side were very heavily involved with the church. And I can remember being at her house one day, and she's like, the only thing I want for my grandkids is for them to give 1 hour a week to go to church. That was her only wish for all of us. And there are like 70 plus of us, me and cousins. And I was like, you know what? That's not too bad of an ask. All she wants us to do is go to church. Okay. So like, Dana, I will go to church by myself. It does not bother me. It used to, but I'm to the point where I'm like, I don't care. This is where I want to be. It's only an hour. And I've gotten so used to that being my schedule So Sunday
Mhm.
morning, I know I get up, I'm going to church. If somebody's with me, we're going to go eat
Great.
breakfast afterwards. If not, I'm going home. And they're going to be like,
Mhm.
"How come you didn't bring breakfast?" I'm like, "Why didn't you get up and go to church?" So
That is me. That's me too. Me
it's like,
too.
and I'm not
You
coming
know what
home
I
to cook.
get? I always get, well, how was it? Well, what was the sermon about? And I'm like, well, if you had been there, you probably would have heard it. It was a
That's
good
true.
one.
Hey, Rachel, when I was growing up in the church, and certainly there was Bible study and groups who would meet regularly and have a deeper dive into the Bible and its teachings. It wasn't until I was an adult that I realized how much I wanted to do that as well. Probably just a couple of years ago, I had heard about this Catholic priest, Father Mike Schmitz, and he has really grown in popularity. He actually has this program called Bible in a Year. There's Facebook group on it, and there are YouTube videos, and he has just become such a voice in the Catholic community to, I think, initiate this spark in folks. And I certainly have caught that bug as well. And so I think my journey is adjusting, and that's something that I'd like to have more in my life.
Absolutely. And I actually just bought a book. I'm waiting for it to arrive. I think it may actually be here tomorrow, but it is the Bible in a Year.
Hmm.
And there's so many books and devotionals, and I actually have another devotional. It's a coloring book. So you color the page, it's an adult coloring page, right? So, and then it gives you a scripture to go read. So you're supposed to get your Bible out. It's 52 pages. So you're supposed to do it at least once a week. Again, something fun. Hey, you want to color? Oh, now go read something about this. I admit I have not actually started on that one, but I do have it. I just want to get better at it. And hopefully, it's an inspiration. Maybe my kids come home. "What are you doing?" "I'm coloring." "What are you coloring?" "Oh, well, let me tell you about this." They may stray away, but I think they come back. Because even there for a while, I don't think we were very regular. But that was one thing that, when we grew up and my dad said, "Get in the car, you better be dressed, you better be ready to go." And I can remember sitting right next to my dad all the time and, just kind of putting my head on his shoulder and just kind of like, and it was funny because things happen again for a reason. That actually came up again this past Sunday. The man's supposed to be the one to take his family to church and be the leader. And I was like, that was my daddy. And we kind of did that as well. I kind of like, you know what? The man doesn't have to be the person to do it. I can be that person. I can be the one. So,
See,
you know,
I think it's the woman. I think it's always the woman who, it's not always, it can be anybody, but I have been around some wonderful people who have poured into me. When I was in high school, my friend, I remember her mom was so faithful and she told us that. I think we must have been like 15 or 16. And she spoke something like that into us. She was like, marriage isn't always easy. Sometimes you hit some rough spots, but I hope that you girls keep your faith and just know that sometimes you have to be the one that's steady. You have to go by yourself or when you have littles. And we were young, so wasn't privileged to things that were happening. But now as an adult, there's just seasons. There's seasons, and we all have
Mm-hmm.
reasons. There is no right or just way. But I always think that, and I keep that kind of in my heart. And I feel like I go for myself, but I also
mhm,
know that when I come home, like you, Rachel, and they're like, how was it? Or what was the sermon like? Or why didn't you take me to breakfast? Like they're paying attention as well. And they know they're
Mm-hmm.
missing something. It's quality time or a spiritual soul being fed or something like that. We have a lot of churches here, like a lot. I don't even think I can count them all. And I don't know very many people that attend the same church. There's so many churches. There's so many churches, and I swear we have every denomination known to man. I'm certain of it. Denominations I didn't even know of.
I would agree.
And maybe I haven't put a lot of effort in, but when my son was like elementary school, our friend Kelly, who we've talked about several times, was attending a church and they had she was doing the Bible study in the daytime, like when the boys were in school or preschool. While I was working, she was attending that. And she said, but they do the same one. They run it in the day for moms and they offer daycare for the littles and they also run it in the evenings for the working parents. And in the evenings, they ran, it was Wednesday night. Bible study night, youth group night. They ran something for the kids. So the boys thought they were just going to hang out together. I don't know what they did. I don't know, dropped them off downstairs in the kids' club, and I went into this Bible study. I did not know a soul, not a soul. But I met one of my dearest friends there who lived down the street and around the corner from me. We were in a different city. I met her. I met just so many, I mean, lots of people from that church, but also I realized that I like that. I am, like I said, I feel very solid in my faith and where I attend church on Sunday, where I choose to go. But I just like to be around other women who have that faith. And that's something that I haven't really been able to find. Again, I haven't looked very hard. We moved here during COVID, so there weren't a lot of options, but I'm very open because I want to learn and I want to grow my faith. Finding a women's Bible study in a place where I can fellowship and meet other people and grow in my faith. I realized when I went through that several years ago, but I do agree with you too that now in my faith, I really want to learn about the Bible and learn about my faith and where that lands. I don't really want to kind of bubblegummy Bible study. I really want to learn about myself.
Mm-hmm.
I want to
Mm-hmm.
learn about, feeding my spirit and growing there and what that looks like. So if you ladies hear of anything, please let me know. But is that something that your church runs? I don't think that, like, our church runs a weekly Bible study I think they run a couple, but they don't do a lot of like men's only or women's only or this age group. And that's sort of what I'm looking for. I can commingle, I can cohabitate with men and women. Sometimes it's nice to hang out with people that are kind of on the same page,
Oh,
the
for
same phase of
sure.
life, maybe.
I still consider that I'm fairly new to this church that
Hmm.
Rachel and I happen to both attend, so I can't speak on that. But I did want to mention, Dana, that there is something that you often say, this expression that you find meaningful things to fill your cup.
Hmm.
And I love that. I
Oh, thank
really
you.
love that. And it reminds me, okay, so I had mentioned earlier that I don't always feel comfortable with this idea that I would be going to church by myself because it reminds me of, my mom having to go to church
Sure.
by herself. However, she has really found her people when she attends mass, and it is the same group of people who inspire her, who fill
Hmm.
her cup, this group who she's found since my dad had passed away. And I really appreciate that. And so I too hope that I can just get over this hump and no matter what, continue with my faith and continue to go to church. And so you inspire me, and my mom inspires me. So
Do
I
you want me to go with you? I'll go with you.
I was
I'll sit
I
next to you.
actually right, I was actually thinking that we do our routine on Sunday, and then the three of us should get together and have breakfast or have brunch after
Yes.
after
Yes, we
we
should.
attend church. I think
Yeah,
that'd be
our
kind of
churches aren't
fun.
that far away.
Mm-mm.
My husband does this Bible study, and what I realized, Sheila, was when I backed off and I just said, this is who I'm going to be and where I'm going to go, and feel free to come with me. Everybody knows what time I go to church on Sunday. Nobody's awake. Go, they're still sleeping. I think we kind of came to this mutual respect and understanding. And he was attending, and then he'd say things like, well, there's this fellowship dinner happening tonight, or there's this event happening tonight, which, I mean, I'll go to church by myself, but those things, oh my word, dislike. Oh, I don't like them at all. I don't like not knowing anybody. I mean, like if I knew people, it would be fine, but church people are actually kind of mean and cliquey. They're not very friendly at those
Oh,
events, I have
uh-huh,
found.
uh-huh.
At least at this church, not
Well,
friendly.
what I think it may be as well, that you and I are newer
Yeah.
to the
Hmm.
area,
Hmm.
and a lot of
Hmm.
people who are here, and correct me if I'm wrong, Rachel, grew up here
Right. Hmm.
and have known these people for years and years. And so
Yeah.
it's easy for them to connect. And when a new person comes into this circle, it can be different.
Yeah.
It can be a
Hmm.
little awkward, and I can sense that, Dana, for you, that doesn't always become the best scenario for a newbie to come into the
Right.
circle.
But I will do it. And that's something that he never in our entire marriage, our whole entire life, has he ever done a Bible study. I mean, so this is a win. And it's where he's feeling like his spirit is being fed. So that's okay. It all comes at different places. Now, I also stepped out on a limb, you guys, and went to a women's, I call it a women's evening social or something. But I made my colleague go with me that's new to the church. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
new. I've been here for 5 years, people. 5 years I've attended the same church. Nobody knows who I am, which is on purpose. I like to sneak in and sneak out. But I didn't want to go by
Oh,
myself.
they know who you are.
They know who you are.
They don't. Mm-mm.
No, they're like,
This
that's
one
that
priest,
lady.
this one of the priests, she asked me probably 3 weeks in a row, "Oh, welcome. Are you new?" And I was like, "Nope, just like last week.
Oh,
Just the same." So when you talk about not being consistent, don't worry about it. I got you.
That's kind of funny.
And
So,
probably, I think the same, Sheila. There was a time actually in our we went to this really teeny tiny church back home in Washington where I think people probably wondered if my husband and I were still married or maybe we were separated because he didn't attend for so long.
I know.
I would just get these looks and I'd be like, yeah, no, he's not coming today or probably next week either.
Right,
But
right.
it's
yeah,
funny.
it does happen here too. So, back to your group thing. Yes, they do have groups. They are down to the point where there are so many groups just because we have a lot of new young families in the church right now.
Mm.
So they are doing things like mom's night out, and it's like usually a
Mm-hmm.
Monday night at the coffee shop, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like leave your kids at home, and then they have like beers with bros or something.
Mm-hmm.
So that's supposed to be
We have
actually
burgers
something
and
that
brew.
that's something you're supposed to actually be doing with the priest. You can go have a beer with the priest. Like, okay.
Oh, well, I went to a Jesuit college and we would see priests on campus smoking a cigarette, so they had their own
Nice.
vices.
Yeah.
That's
But
funny.
there's a number of groups that they formed. There used to be like when all of the older little ladies who wanted to quilt, they had a quilting club. I think they're
Mm-hmm.
actually bringing that one back. I know that there was a thing with young professionals, so kids who had just graduated college and wanted to like talk about their careers.
Uh-huh.
There was a group for that. I mean, they're mentoring. So there was like, if you're an older member and have a younger member, maybe you two will
Oh,
meet together and, talk over coffee or tea or something and kind of just, it's supposed to be like a 1 month thing dedication. I was like, I actually thought about doing that. It's like, but I'm like you, I'm like, I don't really want to socialize with people that I don't know. And I know people
we're
in
so
church.
awful.
I was like, I know people in church and they know who I am, but we know
Right?
people like by faces.
Which church has the group for women who are married but only attend single? I want to be a
Right.
part of that group. There's got to be
Maybe.
more than the three of us. There has to be. Where are my people?
Oh, I'm sure they're out there. There's so many. I
We
mean,
would probably have a large group, I
I
feel
mean, I
like.
went to a church a few weeks ago for a service for my sister-in-law's brother, and I was like, I didn't even know this church existed. I've lived here my entire life. I never knew this church existed. It's tucked away in a neighborhood. It's like I grew up in this neighborhood for X number of
Oh,
years.
yeah.
And it's amazing because with my kids going through Catholic school, especially Dalen going through, he got to do so many things like handbells. Never exposed to handbells.
Handbells.
He loved that thing. And then choir. So we would always get to go. Well, I would always get to go on the choir trips because I was so close with the music teacher. I'm like, I'll chaperone. And so we would go to big cities like Austin. Oh my gosh. And
Woo!
those churches were like, it's like, it makes ours look this big.
Well, I love our little big churches here in town. I will say that. And I do love that most people, colleagues or friends of mine, attend some church on a fairly regular basis. And so I just love talking to people about that. In fact, this won't shock Sheila at all, but I have some coworkers who are kind of like, well, I grew up with like an iron fist telling me I had to be this way, and I was forced to go to Christian school, and rah, rah, rah. And they're all like anti, but I know nothing. I don't know Bible stories. I can't tell you who said what a
Mm-hmm.
commandment is. Like, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know these things, but I'm just talking with my heart and, I'll get them talking and then I'm like, oh, you're just full of hot air, actually. You just
Oh,
don't want to be
oops.
told what you have to do,
Oh.
but deep down inside, you have faith in there. I know it's there. And then one of them, I was a friend who attends the same church that I do, and I saw him on like Easter Sunday or Good Friday or something. And I was like, I see you in church. I see you. He was like, yes, I was invited here. And I'm like, yeah, but you're still here. See, it's
Right.
good. It's all good. Your parents
Well,
don't have to make you go. You have free
It'd
will,
be
my friend.
funny. Our priest would call out and he'd call those like, I know we have some CEOs here. CEOs. It's like Christmas and Easter only. I was like, oh,
Yep.
he
oh,
really did
yeah.
call these people out.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that, you know what? I feel like that's okay too. If
Yeah.
that's where your heart is and your life is at right now, great.
It
Yeah, that's fine.
happens. Like we talk about, there are seasons in our life.
Mhm.
Same with our kids. There will be seasons in their life because I actually, when I went to college and my
Mhm.
parents didn't tell me I had to go there, it just
Mm.
so happened that I really liked this place and it happened to be a faith-based school. But it's not like in my 20s and 30s, I was feeling a strong sense of anything. And so perhaps our children, they will go through a similar cycle and they'll find what works best for them and where their heart is. And so that's my hope.
Oh, I think
Same.
it will. I'm pretty sure it will. I've seen it.
Rachel's pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure. But it is funny though when you can, like I said, I started teaching myself how to read this thing, this Bible.
This thing.
This
That
thing.
book.
I read a scripture and then it happened to come up on Sunday. It's like, oh my God, I know that. I just read that.
Oh, that just
So
fills your soul, doesn't it?
that it did. I felt so good. I was like, oh my God, I actually learned something. So I wish that upon everybody else, but the time will have to be when you decide. But
Yeah,
I do
yeah.
appreciate stuff like that, just when I can make those connections. I've always been that way. I like to connect the dots.
I have some good podcasts for you, Rachel. I'll tell you offline. Wink.
Wink.
This is a great
This is a really good
conversation.
conversation. Yes.
Thanks
Thank you
for indulging me on this topic, ladies. Appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right then. Well, until next time.
Pause,
Pause,
please.
please.